Welcome back to NewsX World. I'm Thomas Porteous and you're watching Focal Length, where we get you a briefing on topics from across the world. Ukraine's war with Russia has major global implications. So, is Zelensky's call for diplomacy influenced by Trump? And why is NATO hesitant on Ukraine's membership? Could Trump negotiate a better peace deal than Biden? Was Biden's no dialogue policy a mistake? How serious is Trump's NATO withdrawal threat? And does Assad's fall in Syria signal weaker Russian and Iranian influence? Let's find out. Joining us is Lieutenant Colonel Glen Grant. He has served for 37 years in the British Army. He was the first advisor to the Ukrainian Ministry of Defence when the war started in 2014. He has been a defence analyst with the Ukrainian Institute for the Future and now is the operations director in the New World Trade Center, Kiev. Thank you for joining us, Colonel Grant. My first question to you is, President Zelensky has made a case for diplomatic resolution with the war with Russia. Do you think this change in rhetoric is thanks to Donald Trump's push towards ending the war?
Obviously, there's something in the timing, but I think that you need to look at this in wider context. That Zelensky is basically saying something the other way around. That if there is NATO guarantees or NATO security, then it is possible to have a diplomatic solution over a longer time. But if there is no NATO guarantee and no NATO security backing it up, then there can be no diplomatic solution, for the simple reason that Putin will just keep going.
President Zelensky has proposed deployment of foreign troops in Ukraine until it is made part of NATO. Why do you think NATO is dragging its feet in making Ukraine part of its organization?
Oh, this is a very, very complex question, because I mean NATO is not a big organization. It's a collection of countries, as you know. It's not like the old Warsaw Pact. And so everybody's got a vote, and at the moment there are several countries within NATO, like Hungary, Slovakia, and countries like Austria, who simply are not willing to give an agreement. And Germany and America have been driving this, and neither of those two feel comfortable with Ukraine coming in at the moment. So it's not like NATO dragging its feet. It's some countries out of that large number are dragging their feet. Joining NATO is all about trust. And I think that there are still trust issues with the Zelensky government that haven't been fixed. So I don't think that putting troops on the ground from NATO is a possibility at the moment at all.
Do you think Trump has a better chance of negotiating a resolution as compared to Biden in view of Trump's relationship with Putin?
No, because I don't believe Trump's got a relationship with Putin. People he talks about this, but I think this is hot air. There is no way that Putin is going to do anything because Trump's got a relationship with him. I mean, come on, Assad had a relationship with Putin, and he's gone. So I think that Putin's his own man. He doesn't have relationships with people. So I don't think that either Biden or Trump have the slightest chance of negotiating something with Putin without actually going to war properly. If they decide to go to war, Putin might stop. But unless they decide to go to war, Putin's just going to keep going.
Do you think, in hindsight, Biden's policy of holding no dialogue with Russia led to unnecessary prolongation of the war?
No, not at all, because there was nothing Biden could say to actually to reduce the prolongation of the war. It's only what Biden could do, and he made a decision himself that he wasn't going to do anything to help Ukraine in any substantial way. Which he hasn't. I mean, if you actually look at the support, the money that Biden put towards Iraq and that Biden put towards Afghanistan, and the support recently for Israel, then what he's given and done for Ukraine is small change. It's small money, and certainly it was also missing a lot of the determination that there's been previously. So, but Biden, he could have said anything, and Putin is still going to keep going because he believes he's winning.
What do you make of Trump's threat to pull the plug on NATO and Ukraine?
He might do on Ukraine. I think he's going to find it hard to do that. I think he will find it extremely hard in America to pull the plug on NATO and to leave NATO, because there's such a strong pro-NATO caucus even in the Republican Party. So I can't see that he will get the law to allow him to do that. I mean, he might bully his way through it, but if he did, what constitutes NATO as an organization is not suddenly going to go away, because there are still, all the other countries that want to be in it. And it may actually revitalize NATO if he did, because it would allow a change towards bringing in South Korea, Japan, Australia, New Zealand, and a few other countries. So I would not see anything that Trump does as to the level of disaster that lots of people are trying to make it seem like. I don't think he'll get to pull out of either of those two, but let's see what happens.
Thank you, Colonel Grant, for speaking to us on Focal Length. With that, it's a wrap on this episode. For more international news updates, stay tuned on NewsX World.